Daryl Mullins, the president of the Silent Nights Glider Club in Ames, and pilot Paul Kaufman were kind enough to let us visit them at the airport recently to find out what soaring in a glider is all about.
Our club has been around in this location since the early 70s.
The club offers a cheaper path to flight training than does powered flight.
Compared to flying powered aircraft where fuel is $6 and $7 a gallon, it's remarkably inexpensive. But I would say a couple $1,000 from start to finish to start, if you've had no training to that point in flying, up to the point where you take your private pilot's license. And on a typical training day, you would come out and maybe take 3 flights. You can learn to fly gliders at an earlier age than you can powered. You can solo a glider as young as 14.
Paul and Daryl told us that soaring is a very safe hobby.
We're very carefully regulated and we train carefully. These gliders are all certified aircrafts. The structure of pilot training is as rigid and careful as any pilot training.
Most students learn in the 2-seat machine we'd be flying in. Paul gave us a tour.
This is an old German-built glider called a Schleicher K7. This particular one was built probably 64, 65 years ago. Common design, it's a 2-seat glider, tandem, and the wings are wood. The airframe is metal tubing with cloth on it. It has an LD of about 26:1, which means if you're under ideal conditions, if you were a mile high, in ideal conditions, it would soar about 26 miles.
Obviously, lacking an engine, gliders need a boost to get up in the air. Daryl would be hauling us into the sky.
It has a small hook near the tail. It's just going to hold a rope with about a 1,200-pound test strength to it. And that rope, that about 200-foot rope, will attach to the nose of the glider. My job is to climb as quickly and safely as I can and hopefully deposit the glider in lift.
The glider pilot is really in charge during the ascent. Once the desired altitude is reached, the tow plane detaches and dives away. If there's not much lift, a flight will last about 15 to 20 minutes with a 2,000-foot tow. Higher dollar gliders can stay up longer, and the duration largely depends on weather conditions.
If you want to stay up, you have to know something about the weather.
Around Ames here, our main source of lift is convective lift, hot air coming off the ground.
I've done a number of rides where I'll see a bird, and if it's not flapping its wings, then or it's turning and not flapping its wings, it's in lift. They get real close. They look up at you and, they give you that look that says amateurs.
And then they're usually above us in no time.
If I'm flying along and I see a husk of corn go by, I'm usually flying between, say, 40 and 50 miles an hour. So I'll have a chance to see something come by. I'll turn toward it. I'll fly with it.
One of the great things about piloting a glider is that an airport runway isn't necessary.
Gliders can land and get stopped in 100 feet or less. Oh, really? The gliders are built to land almost anywhere.
It's no big deal if you land off field. It really isn't.
You're not going to hurt it.
You're not going to hurt it. You land carefully. Someone has to come and get you with a trailer.
When asked why they choose soaring over powered flight,
you go up and you catch a thermal and you spiral up, and the view is spectacular and the ride is smooth generally. And a lot of people, after they've gone on to careers in jets, return to flying gliders because flying gliders, it's pure flying.
For me, it's the challenge and the fun, and it's also the camaraderie of glider pilots.